What? I was always taught to be strong in this world. Told to knock my guard down because at any moment I could be attacked without a moment's notice that my skin made me a target. Skin that has persevered through many trials and tribulations, from seeing my mama raped by landlords, to my father being beaten of his manhood, to my brothers and sisters being separated into jobs for this bigger system. My skin has always been under attack. Yet somehow we prevailed through it all, through all the lynchings, literacy tests, new Jim Crows, war on drugs, the gentrifications, police brutalities, food deserts, mass incarcerations. We survived and adapted and pushed to change because our very existence depended on it. Our very existence depends on this black strength. Strength that has carried us for decades, but is undermining an important aspect of our humanity and feeding in on itself. Being strong all that took away our ability to speak about our weaknesses, our sadness, our mental illnesses. This silence is killing us. On top of that, we lack proper mental health care access and endure mistreatments by medical professionals who cannot relate to us in their practice. On top of that, we stigmatize mental illness to preserve this place of our strength, damaging ourselves, and among black children observing a spike in suicide rates because they may feel that their place in heaven is way better than their place here today, because when black life isn't valued enough for professional help, adequate housing, or even breathing, life here degrades in value in comparison to life after.
Not whatsoever. We'd never do that. Greetings upon greetings upon greetings.
Hold on.
Your other left, baby. It is so good to be sitting in this chair for the last 2 weeks. I know we probably had some people out there be like, Simone's pretty, but where's that quiet guy?
They really didn't say all that.
They didn't say all that?
I don't think so. Welcome, everybody.
Heal, everybody, heal.
Welcome. They're here to help you. So, you know what? Before we go into everything, how about you tell people really quickly, you have like a minute, where were you last week? Because it's important.
Really quickly?
Very quickly.
Well, I did on vacation, I did travel alongside the road, past the Brook Bend, with the tree were just splitting
Dave,
at one.
you have 40 seconds. Tell people where you were quickly last week.
We were at the JCA last week, filming the Jamaican Diaspora Conference Toronto official launch. And I know it's a mouthful, however, though, simply it's a monumental event that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Jamaica is putting
20
on.
seconds.
Sometimes, we have to talk to the manager, the show producer, all of them there for the type of
15
grievances.
seconds. And after that, you're done.
Done? Why did you ask me, period? If
10 seconds.
Listen, I quit. I'm done.
Dave was at the Diaspora Conference. He's done. That's all the time that he gets because we have so much to talk about today.
Don't ask me no questions, man.
Okay. Dave's in his feelings right now.
Listen, don't do it again, okay?
Okay, I'm sorry.
Are you sure?
This right here, you guys are seeing the manifestation of some type of disorder, which is what we're going to talk about today.
Western attitudes.
I know. Guys, today we're talking mental health. The last few shows we've had some, for the last little bit, we've had a lot of guests.
Yeah,
right?
it was good to go and actually explore outside of our comfort zone, with respect to, of course, having just guests within the GTA.
Yes, but I think we lost track a little bit about why we started this show.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, not whatsoever.
Okay, maybe not lost track, but let's go back to teaching. Let's do what we do best.
Let's do it.
You're Mr. African History, and I'm Miss Mental Health.
Wonder Twins activate.
Yes. So, before we even go into that, I would like to welcome somebody brand new to the My TCN TV family. New brand, Miss Selena. This young lady here, I handpicked her myself.
Wow.
Legit. Saw her and I was like, you You right there.
Your magic wand.
You right there.
Uh-huh.
You're gonna be something special, and she is.
There you go. Big up, big up.
She's joined our
up.
team and has done wonderful things already. We have a lot to do with her. So it's exciting. Let's get into what we're going to talk about today. So today's show is pretty important because we're going to be looking at psychology and psychotherapy from two perspectives.
Okay.
We're going to look at it from the psychological perspective. So we're looking at Western psychology. Okay. And we're also going to be looking at it from the African perspective as being a member of the community. So a quick overview of what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be bringing to light the silent hindrances that Caribbeans and Africans have been dealing with, or have when dealing with their mental health issues, okay? So there's some hindrance there to even talking about it, right? We all know that. And what can we do as mental health professionals to better handle these hindrances and address the elephants in the room, okay? So our quick overview, I hope I get through everything, I'm going to really try to, is the need for multicultural competency. Okay, so looking at multiculturalism, meaning of racial and cultural identity.
All right.
Unintentional racism and microaggression, which is, again, these are looking at reasons why sometimes we don't even go look for help. Need for awareness of cultural differences by psychologists, and mental health strategies, because I always want to provide solutions. Very, very important, okay? So the importance of multicultural competence, and of course, Dave, please feel free to jump in where you feel necessary. There is a lot of information. I want to get at as much of it as possible, but I know you are always going to come with that Afrocentric perspective. That's what you do. So please feel free to jump in when necessary, okay? But you're limited to 20 seconds for talking.
We don't know, say Babylon always give Iman a time, you know. Babylon is always trying to go ahead and limit the eye, you know.
Multicultural psychology is an extension of general psychology that recognizes the multiple aspects of the multiple aspects and how identity influences a person's worldview. Now, these include race, ethnicity, language, sexual orientation, gender, age, disability, class status, education, religion, and spiritual orientation. So there's a lot of different things that make up a person and who they are. Okay? Both universal.
I gotcha.
Universal and cultural specific phenomena should be taken into consideration when psychologists are helping clients, training students, advocating for the social change, and of course for social justice. So what they're saying is that basically we need to take in multicultural views and perspectives whenever we're dealing with the community.
But that's hard though. No? It's hard.
It's hard, but there are resources available for you to do that. And it's your responsibility working in the mental health field to take charge of that. Yes, it's hard, but so is walking for a child the first time, but eventually they have to do it.
So it's as easy as taking the first step.
You have to take the first step.
All right.
Right?
Cool.
So multicultural psychology is actually seen as the fourth force in mainstream psychology. So there's three other forces that come ahead of it. So there is psychoanalytical. So people may understand or know that more with Freud. If I mention Freud, they think of, oh my gosh, you want to marry someone like your dad, or you want to marry someone like your mom. Yes. Okay, so that's what most people know that for. So that's psychoanalytical, id, ego, superego. Okay, very basic. Then there's the behavioral. So that's looking at why people act the way they do and actually looking at reinforcing certain behaviors. Okay. And then, of course, there is humanistic, which is what I was trained in. And that's looking at the person as a human being in completeness. So looking at a person, not just their past, not just maybe the disorder or the symptoms that are present, but looking at the entire person, what they might be going through and why maybe they've been going through what they've been going through.
And I'm going to jump in here real quickly regarding the humanistic side.
20 seconds.
Babylon is always trying to limit me. Okay, I'm not sure where this Westernology is coming from.
I'm so sorry.
But anyways, that's considered to be an African-centered approach, the humanistic side of things.
Well, that's why I chose it. I didn't even realize at the time, I'm being serious. I had no idea. It was a program that I got accepted to, and I was like, I want to take this because we have to take in a complete person's circumstances before you start treating them, or before you start dealing with them, right? Because if not, a lot of the views you may have, you may project on them, and they're your own. They're not theirs, right? So it's very, very important. So let's talk about the gangsters of the psychology world in the Western society. They are called APA. American Psychological Association.
So everybody, oh, that's what we call Western psychology, yes?
Yes,
Cool.
they control Western psychology. So the American Psychological Association is the largest scientific and professional organization of psychologists in the United States with over 1800,000 members. So a lot of members, including scientists, educators, clinicians. Did I say that wrong?
Sorry, did you say 1800,000? You gotta be talking. Go on, girl. Yes, 1800. What?
118,000. I'm so sorry.
Gotcha.
I've always hated like
what numbers?
So why did you even call me out?
Hey man,
I was on a roll.
because we only have 20 seconds, you know.
So okay, they basically run all the psychology here.
Gotcha.
Okay, long story short, they're located in Washington D.C. And we're going to be looking at, we only have like 34 seconds left, so I'm even giving myself a time. We're going to be looking at multicultural competencies, okay? That's what we want to talk about. So self-awareness.
Okay.
And this is actively becoming aware of one's own value, beliefs, and assumptions. So this is something a psychologist has to be aware of, okay, to be a multicultural psychologist, okay? Understanding the client's worldviews, we were talking about that.
Okay.
Their attitudes and their beliefs.
Okay.
And cultural sensitive skills. So developing appropriate interventions as a psychotherapist, you have to take in the other person's beliefs. Even if they go completely against your own, you are a professional. So you've got to really take in where that person comes from. And it's important to understand how much culture influences all aspects of a person's behavior.
Of course.
So their perception, how they see life.
Right.
Their cognition, how they think about things, right? And of course, behavior, how we act in our waking life.
Of course, that's Dr. Wade Noble said that culture is so important to a people. That culture is like now how we should go ahead and hang on to our culture is like a child should go ahead and cling to their mother. So what you said just a while ago is very aware and it's very present.
Yes, absolutely, and this is how psychotherapists need to be. The problem is that doesn't always happen. So we're going to look into again the hindrances, and I'm bringing all of this so that people can really understand what needs to be happening, but what is not necessarily happening. And why us as Africans living in the diaspora are a little bit like when it comes to dealing with psychotherapists.
Gotcha.
We'll see you guys soon. I'm here to help you.
At Benjamin Law, we understand the real cost of personal injuries. As the victim of an accident, you may be the one who's physically hurt, but your main concern is that your family are the ones who will pay the price. Benjamin Law will be there for you, helping, supporting, and working tirelessly to resolve your personal injury case. Call 1-855-899-4878 or visit benjaminlaw.ca and let our family of lawyers help your family.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
That's not who we were supposed to see. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Here to Help You on my TCN TV network. So, if you're just joining us, we are talking about not only mental health, but a couple things. We're looking at it from the Western, because we have to understand their psychology as well. People don't get that. It's very important to understand the psychology of others, period. Right. Even if you're a client and you're dealing with your own distresses, you have to understand where they're coming from. Right. You have to get the fact that they may not get you, which is probably why a lot of Africans living in the diaspora say, we're good with psychotherapy. We're not dealing with it. We'll just deal with it ourselves, like that ever works.
Well, that, and as well as, there's things that we still haven't gotten over.
We're about to get into that.
Trauma. Especially the, like you said as well, the trauma, the legacy of the African genocide.
Yes.
AKA the slave trade.
It's not a trade. There was no trade.
It was never a trade. But, for those out there who need that reference and are used to, of course, the Ma'afa, which was the Great Depression, right? Yes. Or the genocide, right?
So, cultural identity is an important aspect of one's self-concept, as we had mentioned in the last segment. Mm-hmm. So, some Caucasians, and some here will say do, feel superior to other races, and some do this without any awareness of it.
That's just upbringing. Once again, culture.
Yeah.
Right? Because you read an article, "The Invisible Knapsack," which displays this to a T.
The invisible knapsack.
The invisible knapsack.
Cool. I'll have to take a look at that.
Please do, because it describes that to a T.
So Caucasians may not be aware of their own privilege. Mm-hmm. Their belief in can't say the word.
I ain't saying it. Go ahead.
I'm not going to say it.
Really?
I'm going to leave it alone.
Oh, no. But it's very vital.
They deny racism.
There you go.
Okay. So ethnocentrism and unintentional racism can actually impede progress in counseling. So that's important. If you, as a counselor, are not aware, and I'm going to talk some numbers here so you can understand, again, why we're not going to get help, okay?
Okay.
In 2015, 86% of psychologists in the U.S. workforce were white. So think about that when it comes to mental health. 86 were white, 5% were Asian, 5% were Hispanic, 4% were black, and 1% was either multiracial or indigenous. Okay?
Okay.
This is less diverse than the U.S. population as a whole, which is 62% white and 38% racial or ethnic minority.
Well, let's face it. It's not a glamorous position.
What's not?
A psychotherapist.
Why? I think it's pretty glamorous.
To you, yes. Right? But for those going into it, and more importantly, in regards to so to get the degree that you need to go and practice, you have to go to their colleges.
Yes, you do.
Right? So now even one of us now who would love to go ahead and go into this field to assist our people still has to go to them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which again shows, of course, the Western dominance. Right? As opposed to now an Afrocentric or African-centered or Pan-African psychology.
It's true. Yeah, it's very, very true. We do have to go through them. I had to get my degrees through their system, right? You have to be APA.
Right. Shit pie higher as degrees, right? As Dr. Ben used to say, right?
So the health service psychology workforce was 88% white. So these are people who are not even psychologists, just working in mental health, okay? 88% white, 12% ethnic minority, okay? So I want you to look at those numbers, right? And really take that in. So there's a larger problem of racism not being understood as a traumatic experience. It is extremely traumatic, and it's not understood.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? Stigma and stereotypes follow people who pursue psychotherapy in the first place, and there's some added weight of being a person of color, okay? That adds to it, all right? So for some, conversations around depression, anxiety, or abuse don't happen in the household. So this is now we're looking at us, okay? So these things we don't get talk about these things at all. Again, I told my mom she had a mental health illness this morning. She got so vexed at me. She was so mad. I don't have no illness. I am fine. Yeah. So, but on a real note, But no, seriously though, like a lot of
Miss
people.
Jai. Hello, Miss Jai.
Hi, Mom.
Hello, Miss Jai.
But on a real note though, like a lot of people are in denial. These things don't even get discussed.
And
right?
Like again, we're still looking at, of course, that trauma of yesteryears, which was went ahead and disassociated ourselves from the normal practices, which would have been embedded in us. So, for instance, now you're looking at our cultures from yesteryears now, how you have a council of elders, right? You would go to these council of elders with your issues, and that alone opens the dialogue.
Yeah.
Right, and of course, from there, of course, whatever transpires, but at least the dialogue is there.
So we're actually going to get into that. We're going to get into that. So there's actually a severe lack of trust in our community. Okay? So for some people of color, they fear that if you tell someone something in the community, you're going to hear about that through the grapevine. No, but it's the truth. There's a lot of people who are like, I ain't saying nothing because if I tell someone, everybody's going to know my business.
Me hear from your mother say your foot broke.
Yeah, exactly. I heard she gone mud. Like those type of things, right? So it's like, I get it. So there are a mountain of barriers for people of color to find therapists of color. So try to look at the numbers we were just talking about. If there's only 4%, that's like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, it
right?
is.
And I hear so many parents who sometimes are looking for this help for their children where they cannot find the worst, a male black psychologist. You know how difficult they are to find?
Correct.
Right? Like, it's very hard for people sometimes. Others have a hard time accessing therapists because they just can't pay for it because people want to charge $100, $120 to help people.
Well, that's, of course, once again, the capping and, of course, the capitalization of course, the practice.
I get it. But people need help.
Yeah.
Right? Right. And I know there's some psychologists who have a sliding scale, and there are some psychologists who do things pro bono, right? But there's not enough of that happening, right? For the amount of people suffering, there's not enough of that, right?
Yeah.
So the other big issue is language barrier. Look at the families that we work with sometimes, and we see the suffering. Who are they going to talk to when they can't even find someone to speak to them in the language that they speak in?
Correct.
Right? So we have all these new immigrants who do come here, and they need it. They're dealing with a lot of mental health. Sometimes just the move here is traumatic, right? So they come here, and now they can't voice to anybody outside of their family that they're suffering. So they just have to suffer in silence, right? So mainstream psychology believes in the universality of their empirical findings and clinical practices. I'm bringing this up because I'm again talking what the Western psychology world looks like,
right?
Where they're just like, it has to be empirical, it needs to be clinical. They're very like
structured, rigid. Yeah, there's no flexibility there.
But such beliefs reflect a lack of awareness of indigenous cultural values and practices.
So you're saying that there's a lack of that humanistic side?
Yes, the humanistic, that third force of psychology is missing, right? Because everything is, and this is why sometimes they dismiss humanistic psychology as just being fluff, because they feel that you just speaking on the human experience is not enough because there's not enough data. There's not enough facts. You got to prove something. You got to do research. You got to go through the whole research method. You've got to have a demographic that you research. It's very...
Yeah, well, you can understand where they're coming from.
I do. It's science, because this is the science.
Because that's what they're basing it off of, right? They're not looking, okay, now, once again, if we're going to compare the two in regards to an African-centered thought, right, and of course a Eurocentric thought, right? When the Europeans, these Caucasians were coming in, they were coming in with, of course, this rigidness, right? This stoicness, this, there was no bending, there was no fluidity.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But now, of course, you look at us as a people, boy, we just move with our spirits and all.
Yes, that humanness.
Yes.
Right? The humanness that we are. So these are, again some of the very small reasons why a lot of us are not able to go, because even with that, like, the first thing that happens when you walk into a mental health organization or dealing with mental health, they push papers at you. And it's like, whoa. Like, right now, I'm trying to, like, just not, like, kill myself. Yeah. That's where I'm at right now in my life. Yeah. I can't deal with paperwork. I need help.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Some people are, again, just that fear. They'll look at all this paperwork and be like...
Anxiety could kick in.
Right away. Like, if you're suffering from anxiety and someone pushes paper at with all these big words, well, when's the last time you did this? When's the last time you did this? Right? So in dealing with something like that, when I do work with some of the people that I work with in the community, when I do offer my services, I do give them paperwork because, again, there needs to be clarity.
Right.
But I don't say, listen, you got to fill this out now before I even start seeing you. No. No, I don't. You can't do that. I let people think about it because some of the questions I ask are tough.
Yes.
I want them to really think about why they are coming to see me. Yes, you're feeling that in the moment feeling where it might be depression or severe anxiety or whatever's happening to you at that point, right? But I want you to really take in why you are here. Why are you sitting in front of me? What are you are you eating well? Are you sleeping well? Right? Have there been other changes in your life? What has happened that's maybe caused you to spiral? There are things that people don't take in because all we do is move. Here,
We're stuck
wake
in
up,
survival
wake
mode.
up, get the kids ready, get to work. Oh no, gonna be late. Gotta pick up the kids. Have to get home.
Right.
Have to cook. Have to do it's
Right.
go. So you never take time to really think about what's going on with you, right? So these are just things that, again, like our community needs to, I think for a lot of us, though, we do have to start taking a lot more responsibility for ourselves. We are the only ones who are going to get us better.
You know, and it's interesting how you say that. All of our African-centered psychologists have said that, from Dr. Naeem Akbar to Wade Nobles to Amos Wilson. They've all said the same thing. You know, it'd be wonderful now if a Pan-African, body of psychoanalysts, psychotherapists, right, psychologists were to go ahead and position themselves and be a lot more marketable. We can see these services available.
Well, they did do one. Didn't one just opened up not too long ago, right? There was a launch. But even with that, I'm definitely going to reach out to them because I'd love to see more of what they're doing and how they're reaching out to our community and really helping them face some of these things. Because it's okay to have an organization of Black psychologists.
Right.
But are we even going to go to them? At least they're available, though. Thank you.
Yeah, at least
Right?
the awareness is more than what people need to know, right?
They're there.
Right?
So when we come back, we're going to be looking at things that may happen in a psychologist or a psychotherapist's office, microaggression, which again are reasons why we're so afraid to go and deal with a psychotherapist. We'll see you guys soon on Here to Help You.
At Benjamin Law, we understand the real cost of personal injuries. As the victim of an accident, you may be the one who's physically hurt, but your main concern is that your family are the ones who will pay the price. Benjamin Law will be there for you, helping, supporting, and working tirelessly to resolve your personal injury case. Call 1-855-899-4878 or visit benjaminlaw.ca and let our family of lawyers help your family.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
In value in comparison to life after. Black bodies. Strong black souls are floating through the wind, seamlessly letting go. Strong black bodies are screaming for help, but suffering in silence and being socially and systematically being put on quiet. Black souls are strong, but we do need help when we do fall through the cracks. That is why I want you to know that you can patch things up with me. All right, we can kick it back like it was a drive-through movie in the 1970s. We can get some help from people who actually understand us, refute our standards of stigmatizing mental illness, and fight against the structures that chronically misdiagnose what this really is. Fight against the racism that brings up our mental health issues and lowers our treatment options, bringing us one step closer to seeing no other option. I want us to see that we have a way to heal this wound that has been widening ever since day one with no means of contracting. I want us to know that the seed that we sow today is the harvest we reap tomorrow. And when we finally reap, we can find peace in these moments, noticing that the danger isn't gone, but we finally have a place where it feels like it is, the grounding of black bodies.
What an interesting young man, huh?
I like how he did it.
Mm-hmm.
He did it. That spoken word piece.
Yeah.
Serious thing. So Dave said that I'm rushing through everything.
That's not.
Do you guys think I'm rushing?
That's not what I said.
That's what you said.
No.
You said I'm rushing through everything. I'm talking too fast.
That I said.
Let me know in comments if you think I talked too fast through this. But don't worry, because Dave's going to put up all of this information on our website. So, yes, he is. So now we're going to go into what sometimes we may face when we walk into a psychotherapist's office, or if we're speaking to someone about mental health.
Right.
We're going to talk about that now. So let's talk about microaggression. Why did you just fold your hands like that? I feel like you have something to say.
First, you may want to go ahead and define.
I'm going to define microaggression. Would you like to define it first?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so this is brief and commonplace daily verbal, behavioral, or environmental indignities, whether intentional or unintentional, that communicates hostile, derogatory, or negative racial slights and insults toward people who are culturally different than us. It's the slights part.
Yes.
That's the part that people need to look at. It's the slights. Because microaggression is very micro.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
it's very
it's
acute.
It's very small, where sometimes it'll just pass by and be like, was that racist? Like,
did he really say that?
So let's look at microaggression. One example of this, and these things can happen in daily interactions and sometimes in counseling sessions. And this is why psychotherapists who are not of African descent, who are working with people of African descent, need to take cultural sensitive training, need to be aware, need to involve themselves more. If they really want to help us, they need to get involved, truly involved.
Or we can have a resource that's available through them, right?
Well, I'm saying, remember, I'm talking about the numbers of like 88% of them being psychologists and only 4% us, right? The numbers, they're completely outdoing us when it comes to numbers in this field.
Right.
So if they are going to be doing this and they do want to work with us, right, they need to get in. Get in when they fit in, right? So let's talk about color blindness. So these are statements that indicate that a white person does not want to acknowledge race. So see, these are some of the comments you might get. When I look at you, I don't see color. Canada is a melting pot. There's only one race, the human race. No, there's not. There's many different.
First of all, the first one you said, was it?
When I look at you, I don't see color. So what you see?
I tell everybody, whoever uses that, I listen, don't be ignorant.
Stop
Real,
this.
don't be ignorant. What you can say is, yes, you see color, but it's not a hindrance.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, agreed. So with that, they're denying a person's colors or a person's racial color. Okay? And at the end of the day, yes, race is a socially created.
By the Germans.
It was socially created, yes. It was.
Your kinsman.
Stop this guy. Don't call me out. They can assimilate, and with that, the Canada's a melting pot. That's assimilation. So that's talking about, they just melt with the dominant culture, which is not necessarily the case, right?
Yes, that familiar word, diversity.
Diversity. Denying the individual as a racial, cultural being. There's only one race, the human race. Microaggression, okay?
Well, there's, we just need to get our shit together. No, and to put it any more bluntly than that, right? I mean, you look at this, right? We all understand in regards to the dominant culture, right? Even though they are the minority, they have been.
Yeah.
Right? But we've been so spread out for so long. We now come to a point we need to go in and centralize, and especially in the area of mental health, and especially now, of course, with the government allocating funds now towards mental health.
Absolutely.
Right? We need to get our shit together. We need to go ahead and centralize, and so that way we can have these resources available, so that way we don't have to walk into the offices and realize, boy, but now the money for go up here, this is what we need to help,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on to the next.
Go on.
We'll see. Denial of individual racism. So a statement made when whites deny their racial biases. So I'm not racist. I have several black friends. That don't mean you ain't racist. As a woman, I know what you're going through as a racial minority. Really? Do you? So the first one is, I'm immune to race because I have friends of color. No, you're not. Let's just be real. Your racial oppression is no different than my gender oppression. Really, again. And I can't be racist. I'm like you. Really? Is that what's happening?
Oh, wow.
Can't relate. But these are things that people are saying, though.
But these are people, what
this
our
is what
people are encountering.
Hearing and dealing with, like, I have black friends. I'm so far from racist. Like, I love having those conversations with people, and they're just like, I have a friend who's Jamaican. I'm just like, and? What does that have to do with anything? I went to Jamaica once.
You know him, right? You know he's from Jamaica. He's
really, you might know my friend. He's from Jamaica. Yes, because Jamaica's one little village, and everybody lives in the one little village.
It's a melting pot.
It's a melting pot. Oh gosh. So now let's go on to environmental microaggressions. Okay, these are interesting. So this is macro level microaggressions. So these are in bigger areas where this is happening, which are more apparent on systemic and environmental levels. Okay. So here are some examples. A college or university with buildings that are all names after white heterosexual upper class males. Okay.
Yes, like the Gandhi statue.
What?
People out there, they understand what's going on.
Okay. Yeah. I know that one. That's the whole Martin Luther King. The one that's in front of the Martin Luther King. Is that what you're talking about? Are we talking about the same one? Out
in Ghana, the Gandhi statue, they had to go and make sure they had to go and draw that down. Listen, man, a lot of people don't understand Gandhi's story, but that's
that's another story. I understand. Yeah, Gandhi wasn't what people
as a general
think he is.
for the British Army.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there's more to that story.
Well,
Do your research, people. Was that harsh? Didn't mean to be. So television shows and movies that feature predominantly white people without representation of people of color, or they have that token, the one black person
who
always dies first in every movie. So unnecessary. So overcrowding of public schools in communities of color. This one's huge. That's definitely happening at a systemic level.
Yeah.
Overabundance of liquor stores in communities of color. Which is
buck of beer.
This is micro. It looks so like, oh, we're putting a liquor store in for you. Yay! Why? So that we can drink ourselves through our mental health issues?
Buck of beer. You know, the fat man said, and they said, I've talked to the members of my community, and they've supported, yes, a buck of beer. Yes.
Who?
Douglas Ford.
Oh, we went political.
Yes, fat boy. Yeah, buck of beer, man.
Dave just said that.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like, let's be right. We have to be right. I mean, these are things that are happening, and you know, and he's at the forefront when it comes to these things which are happening in our communities. You know, right? And now, when these cuts take place, you know, and of course, a lot of people find themselves either out of a job or, of course, once again, dealing with psychosocial, mental issues.
Yeah.
Right? Guess where they're going? They go to the store, they get their buck of beer.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Yeah, guys, we have some things happening. But you know what? We did this show to bring things to light, to help people understand their resistance. Because some of us are just resisting and not understanding why we're resisting, right? You need to have an understanding and innerstanding, okay, as to why you do not want to go see a psychotherapist. It's because of these little small things. Like, again, with them having the highest number of mental health professionals, who do we turn to when we're here? Who do we go to?
You know, as a practice among us, as a culture, we used to seek out what was called a jegna, or an elder who's been through the reins, who's tried and tested, right? This is something that, you know what, like us as a people, we need to go back to doing this. Seeking out those who've actually been in the battlefield who can go ahead and assist us. Right? And if they can, by means, with their wisdom, they'll go and place us in the right direction so we can go and speak to somebody, right, who will be able to go ahead and help us. But the first thing we need to do, of course, is have that dialogue.
And be willing to trust. But when we come back, I'm going to go into, obviously, solutions. because there's things that have been offered now. This is a lot of the things that the solutions were offered by APA. I would love to see if they're actually doing any of this stuff, but they do say that this is what they do to be culturally sensitive.
There we go.
So we're going to go through those when we get back here on Here to Help You.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity in our experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
At Benjamin Law, we understand the real cost of personal injuries. As the victim of an accident, you may be the one who's physically hurt, but your main concern is that your family are the ones who will pay the price. Benjamin Law will be there for you, helping, supporting, and working tirelessly to resolve your personal injury case. Call 1-855-899-4878 or visit benjaminlaw.ca and let our family of lawyers help your family.
Welcome back, everybody.
Greetings upon greetings.
So if you're just joining us, first of all, I want to thank you all again. I want to thank a couple people. So a bulk of this information that I have actually was from a course that I took. It's called Self and Effective Use of Self in Psychotherapy.
Okay.
And it is by my two mentors, Dr. Paul and Lillian Wong. And I can truly, again, I can appreciate them because they did what I said at the beginning you're supposed to do, like learn. They took the time. I worked with them and they worked with me for 9 years.
Okay.
Learning who I was while I learned who they were. And they were able to really, really help me through some of my toughest times. So I really want to say thank you to them. I appreciate you guys. And all of this, a lot of this stuff comes straight from Dr. Paul and Lillian Wong.
Okay.
They did a course on this and they talked about multicultural sensitivity. And I learned a lot because it helped me understand what is wrong with the system.
Okay.
Right? And what we need to do to correct it.
There you
right?
go.
And of course, with me being in my community and working as closely with the community as I do, my purpose is to take all of this knowledge that I've learned and to share it, right? For those who want to listen, for those who don't. Again, it's for those who I can spark just a little bit of ingenuity where they can do things to help themselves.
You know, and we see that as a result. I mean, I've witnessed countless of times where you've been out, whether you're giving a speech, right, and or just speaking to families, right, and you can see, of course, how these families will go ahead and of course, and how receptive they are to the information, right. So I mean, it's something that's needed, you know, and I know we're going to go into some solutions, right, and I don't want to, of course, beat a dead horse, but it's definitely, like I said before, the dialogue we just need to start somewhere with the dialogue. Yeah,
and have people that we can trust. Have people we can talk to, which is why I named the topic of this, Can I Talk to You? We have to know that we can talk to somebody and trust somebody. I've always said, if my mouth ever let loose in Toronto, oh boy, because I know a lot. Well, I've heard a lot. I've been told a lot, but I'm happy. Do you know why I'm happy? Because people trust me.
True, I get you, you know, and once again, you know, for certain things, the Western implications, the Western ideology, we've been ingrained. Yeah. Right? We haven't got over, you know, the slavery aspect, right? And that's just that part. Yeah. Right? We even got over the fact that, you know what, we're still haven't gotten over the last time a PC was in power with Michael Harris. Right? Yeah. So if you want to go there, right? And now, of course, PC's back in power again, which is bringing back all these, of course, these psychosocial issues. So we need more. Right? More and more. Let's look at the fact that professional training needs to be, like, I guess, revisited. Yeah, for sure. It needs to more broadly reflect people's lived experience outside of the white cultural experience. You know, what I would like to see, and as you say that, for African-centered psychologists, right, they would have an understanding regarding, of course, the African culture. Yes. What was done back then? How were things solved? Right? Yes. What was that approach? how are they using the history, certain situations, certain examples, right? In regards to go ahead and actually assisting, with somebody who and alleviating them, of course, of their stresses.
Yeah.
Right.
They need to be more visible. Like, and this is the thing though, because of these stringent laws that they have saying you've got to have this certification and this certification. I think there's some very certified people out there, including myself, who do not have the paperwork to show that I can practice. I'm telling you, I'm not being cocky. It's just what God gifted me with.
Right.
Okay, the ability to listen and to heal. And to help people. That's something I can do. But I can't call myself a psychotherapist because I'm going to have paperwork from the APA, the biggest gangsters in the world, to let them know that, oh, I'm a psychologist.
Yeah.
I can't call myself that because the gangsters said I can't. Okay?
Well, that's them. I know what we all go ahead and actually see you as.
I know, and I appreciate you guys. So people don't need the person that they are talking to have the same experience, all right? Just the willingness to recognize their lived experiences, which is something that the Wongs did with me. They didn't expect to know everything. They couldn't say, we know what it's like to be a black female, because they don't. They have no idea, right? But they were able to take in who I was, and they asked questions, and they really learned me. And I wouldn't say they'd stopped seeing my color, because I'm still who I am to them,
right?
But they were able to understand why I did the way things I did, what made me think the things that I thought, and they did their research too. So it was really cool. I really appreciate them. So let's look at the APA guidelines for multicultural practice. Now, I love everything they say in theory. How much they practice it, minanua, right? Because if they practiced it more, I truly believe that more of us would be going to them for help, right? If they practice a lot of these more. So psychologists are encouraged to recognize that as cultural beings, they may hold attitudes and beliefs that can detrimentally influence their perception of and interaction with individuals who are ethnically and racially different from themselves. Okay? You're blinking your eyes like you have something to say. Go ahead, Dave.
I'm going to remain silent as you go through the next one.
Okay. Psychologists are encouraged to recognize the importance of multicultural sensitivity, responsiveness, knowledge, and understanding about ethnically and racially different individuals. So they're supposed to do their research. They're supposed to really embed themselves into the communities that they're supposed to be helping, right? Hint what I just said.
Yes.
Okay. So strategies to develop multicultural competency skills. And after this, I know you have some stuff to say, so I'm gonna do this first, okay? So one thing that they encourage psychologists who are not actually part of the culture that they're helping is to unpack your invisible and unacknowledged areas of privilege.
Okay.
You gotta admit to the fact that if you are white, you have privilege. You can't deny that. Stop denying it. Just because you have a friend who's Jamaican, it does not mean you're not white privileged, okay?
Big up Mars Jimmy, yeah? Right, he's Jamaican. Jimmy the Jamaican,
Identify your and your client's cultural identity development stages. So you've got to be aware of where your client is at and how they identify themselves culturally. It's very, very important, okay? Develop cultural empathy. Take the perspective of the other.
Right.
So being empathetic, putting yourself in someone else's shoes. Again, that can only happen if you've acknowledged the fact that you do have a privilege. If you are a white psychotherapist or psychologist, okay? You've got to acknowledge that. It can't be denied. You are privileged. It's the only way they're going to be able to develop that empathy to say, okay, this is my life, but this is not necessarily their life, right?
Right.
Develop intercultural communication skills. The only way you are going to develop these type of skills is, once again, you need to be around the company, the community that you are helping. If you are not around them, you will never understand them. I don't care what book you've read. I don't care what theory you think you know. I don't care how much multicultural groups and conferences and books you've read. You've got to be around the people to truly help the people. If you don't know, you can't help them. You have no point of reference, okay? Acknowledge language, spiritual, racism, oppression, and discrimination as important variables for many culturally diverse clients. The only way, again, like you said, not beating a dead horse, but the only way for you to do this is for you to actually get involved, be involved. You have to do your research. And again, it can't just stop at a conference. And it can't just stop at a book. That's not enough. You've got to physically put yourself in these places. And again, if you are not able to, for our community, we need to, as mental health professionals, to find a way to help our people because we know better. We know how to do it. Anyone who follows my pages knows that all I do on a regular basis is put up things to make people think. Sometimes people may not like some of that stuff, but I don't care if you like it or not. You have to face yourself.
True.
Right?
True.
So your thoughts, Dave?
Your
thoughts on the information provided today?
Part of it is on us. And what I mean by that is that we did a poor job in regards to not creating or developing certain types of resources which are available. Right. As an example, for instance, where the dropout rate was taking place in the high schools amongst our children, right? Where now, A, we didn't have enough African-centered teachers in the schools. B, not only did we not have enough African-centered teachers, but sometimes we didn't have enough African-centered resources, whether it be history, past, present, right? And as well as anything which would develop some sort of field or secular thought. Right, so some of this is definitely on us, guys. So we now haven't developed enough of those resources.
Okay.
Right. It is slowly changing because, of course, you mentioned that, of course, the Black psychologist group.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, slowly but surely, of course, these things will change. Right. Outside of that, the information now, once again, because now it is highly concentrated in a Eurocentric thought. Right. We're still going to have naysayers out there with respect to now, listen, you know what? It's still their point of view, right? I'm of the firm belief that with respect to psychology, right, there is some sort of mirroring or there's a mesh there. In regards to, of course, understanding what's going on their side, right? And using that, of course, to how to go ahead and apply to us, to our communities, right? And also, as I mentioned before, everyone who looks like us who wants to get into the field should go ahead and study some sort of African-centered spiritual system.
It definitely helped broaden my viewpoint when I started to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, it did.
Right? To understand exactly the full functionality of the role of a Jegna or Jegnak. Right, which is plural, by the way, right? To understand what seeking to say Sekou would be, to understand in regards to like those stalwarts who've done it before, the Amos Wilson, the Naeem Akbars, the Wade Nobles, the Dr. Joy DeGruy, I mean, and countless others who have done it, right? To understand,
Dr. Francis.
Yes, large Mama Francis.
Yeah.
To understand where they're coming from, how they've done it, what's really. How their practices were. How could we still use some of their practices?
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, a lot of it's on us. Not understanding, I guess, how we need to really go ahead and centralize the resources which are out there in fragments, right? So that we can go ahead and assist our professionals, so that they in turn go ahead and assist us.
That's pretty good, Dave.
Thank you.
I was all caught up what you're saying. I forgot that we're on the show. I was like, yes, preach it. You're right.
1,800,000.
You're so annoying.
Well, I had more than 20 seconds this
Thank
time.
you very much, everyone, for tuning in. I really hope you guys were able to get something from this today. We're going to continue to deliver.
Yeah, it's what we
10
put on
seconds.
this planet to do. Yeah.
Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful day. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.
Please, we want to hear them.
We want to hear your questions and comments, and know that you can reach out to us about anything.
Yes.
We are here to help you. See you guys soon.
Peace and love, family.
Next week.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.